Imagine waking up one morning, stepping outside, and instead of seeing the warm golden glow of our familiar star, you see nothing but chaos. The sun, the very heart of our solar system, has exploded. What happens next? Do we all vanish instantly? Does Earth drift into eternal darkness? Or would we even notice it right away? Let's break this down scientifically. Because the answer isn't as simple as fire, destruction. It's far stranger, far scarier, and in some ways even more fascinating. Before we jump into apocalyptic scenarios, let us get one thing clear. The sun is not the type of star that explodes as a supernova. Only massive stars, those many times larger than our sun, end their lives with such a bang. Our sun is a G-type main sequence star, about 4.6 billion years old, sitting comfortably in middle age, instead of exploding violently. The sun will eventually swell into a red giant in about 5 billion years, shed its outer layers, and leave behind a small, dense white dwarf. So technically, the sun won't explode in reality. But let's bend the rules of physics and imagine what if it suddenly did. What if tomorrow, the sun went supernova? Here's the creepy part you wouldn't notice immediately. Why? Because light takes about 8 minutes and 20 seconds to travel from the sun to Earth. That means if the sun exploded right now, we'd still see it shining normally for those 8 minutes. During that brief window, life would carry on as usual. Birds would sing, people would sip their morning coffee, and no one would realize that their very source of life had already been destroyed. But once those 8 minutes are up, everything changes. When the explosion's light and radiation finally reach Earth, the first thing we'd see is a blinding flash, brighter than anything we've ever witnessed. The sky would erupt in violent bursts of gamma rays, X-rays, and high-energy particles. This radiation would be devastating. It would strip away Earth's atmosphere, burn the ozone layer, and bombard the surface with lethal energy. Within seconds, life as we know it would be in danger. Electronics would fry, communication systems would collapse, and satellites would be destroyed. But that's only the beginning. One often overlooked consequence of the sun exploding is gravity. The sun's immense mass keeps the planets locked in orbit. If the sun were destroyed, its gravitational pull would vanish instantly. That means Earth would no longer orbit the sun. Instead, it would shoot off into space in a straight line, drifting endlessly into the cosmic void. At first, it might not feel too different after all. Earth's momentum would carry it forward. But without the sun's gravity to hold us, we've become nothing more than a wandering orphan planet, destined to freeze in the darkness of interstellar space. Within hours of losing the sun, Earth would start cooling rapidly. After just a few days, average global temperatures would drop below freezing. After a week, the ocean's surfaces would begin to freeze. Within a year, the average temperature on Earth would plummet to minus 73 degrees Celsius, minus 100 degrees Fahrenheit. The only heat left would come from geothermal vents deep in the Earth and radioactive decay in the planet's core. Humans, animals, and plants on the surface, gone. The only survivors might be deep-sea creatures living near hydrothermal vents, bacteria beneath Earth's crust, and maybe, if we're clever enough, humans in underground bunkers powered by nuclear reactors. Not immediately. For a while, the explosion would fill the sky with light. But once the chaos settles, Earth would be plunged into complete darkness. No sun, no moonlight. Since the moon only reflects sunlight, and no familiar day-night cycle. The stars would still shine, of course, but the comforting rhythm of sunrise and sunset would vanish forever. Imagine living in an eternal frozen night. The sun's explosion wouldn't just affect Earth. Mercury and Venus would be vaporized instantly, their entire masses torn apart by the blast. Earth, though tougher, would be roasted on one side and bombarded by high-energy shockwaves. The outer planets, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune would have their atmospheres stripped away, but might remain partly intact due to their distance. The asteroid belt would be scattered violently, sending countless rocks hurling across the solar system. It wouldn't just be Earth. At risk, the entire solar system would be destroyed or thrown into chaos. Here's the million-dollar question. Could we survive if the sun exploded? Realistically, no. At least not with our current technology. The sheer energy released in a solar supernova would sterilize Earth completely. No bunker, no underground city, no space station could withstand the blast of radiation. But here's a twist. If we somehow had enough warning and advanced technology, humans might survive by fleeing Earth and colonizing other star systems. It's the stuff of science fiction, but in theory, civilizations could build generation ships to travel between stars. Still, if the sun exploded tomorrow, without warning, humanity wouldn't stand a chance. Since the sun can't go supernova, what will really happen? In 5 billion years, the sun will run out of hydrogen fuel in its core. It will swell into a red giant, growing so large it might engulf Mercury, Venus, and possibly Earth. Temperatures will rise, oceans will boil, and Earth will become uninhabitable long before the final stages. Eventually, the sun will shed its outer layers, forming a planetary nebula. And what's left will shrink into a white dwarfer, small, dim ember of what was once our life-giving star. Not as dramatic as an explosion, but equally inevitable. Here's the paradox. Without stars exploding in the past, we wouldn't even exist today. Atom. Every atom of calcium in your bones, every atom of iron in your blood, and every atom of oxygen in your lungs was forged in the heart of a star that exploded billions of years ago. Supernovas spread these elements across the cosmos, seeding future solar systems and planets like Earth. In a strange way, we are literally made of stardust, the ashes of exploded suns. So, what if the sun exploded? Earth would survive for 8 minutes before chaos struck. The atmosphere would be stripped away. The planet would freeze into an icy wasteland. Humanity would almost certainly perish. But here's where things get interesting and where I want to hear from you. Do you think humanity could ever develop technology advanced enough to survive the sun's death? If Earth drifted into interstellar space, could humans adapt to live on a frozen planet, powered only by geothermal energy? And here's the wildest thought. If stars must die for life to exist, does that mean destruction is just as important as creation in the universe? What do you think? Drop your thoughts below. I'm sure this will spark a debate worth watching.